I didn't learn this on the internet. I learned during the war in my country. How do I preserve meat when the power comes and goes? And the freezer becomes worthless. I will show you how to preserve fresh pork belly in a jar for a long period of time without refrigeration. I will cut 1.5 kilograms of pork belly into smaller pieces. Write to me in the comments from which country are you watching me? It's nice to know that we are watching each other all over the world. Now I'm going to make the spice mix. I will add 30 grams of salt, 20 grams of salt per kilogram of meat. A teaspoon of ground coriander, half a teaspoon of pepper. I will mix the spices. The amount of salt must not be reduced because botulism does not develop in a salty environment. I will roll the meat in spices. I have prepared the meat and will mince 4 cloves of garlic. I need clean and wash jars. I add 1 bay leaf to each jar. Peppercorns. Chopped garlic. I will fill the jars with meat. I will fill all the jars in the same way. I'll wipe the top of the jar. I close the jars with clean and new lids. I need a deeper pot. I put a cloth on the bottom of the pan. I put the jars in the pot. I pour water into the pot up to the height of the lid. I put the pan on the stove. I will cover it, and from the moment the water boils, I will cook for 3 hours. If the water evaporates, add hot water. I will leave the jars to cool gradually in the water. When the jars have cooled, the center part of the lid must sink. Store the jars in a dark place until use. Before use, heat the contents of the jar to 80 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. Botulism poison is thermally unstable. It's a safety measure. Now we will try the pork belly as it looks. If you like the video, leave a comment and a like. Thank you, dear friends. I put 600 frames of beans in a pot. I pour water. 1 liter. When the water boils, I cook for 5 minutes. While I wait for the water to boil, cutting 100 frames of bacon. I need 2 onions. I will cut 1 carrot. After 5 minutes of cooking, I will rinse the beans with clean water. I put 1 tablespoon of lard in the pan, waiting for it to melt. I will fry the bacon on both sides. Dear friends, write to me in the comments, do you preserve food in jars? I will fry the vegetables. Now we are filling the jars. I sterilize the jars in the oven at 100 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Fill with beans up to 1/3 of the jar. Add bacon. Add vegetables. Garlic. Half a teaspoon of salt. Dry spice, half a teaspoon. Ground sweet pepper. Vinegar 9%, 1 teaspoon. If you don't have 9% vinegar, you can put 5%, 2 teaspoons. Wipe the top of the jar. Write me in the comments from which country are you watching me? It's nice to know that we are watching each other all over the world. I pour lukewarm water into the jars. To this height. I close with clean and new lids. I put a cloth on the bottom of the pan. I will arrange the jars. I pour water up to the top of the lid. I turn on the fire. When the water boils, I reduce the temperature and cook for 3 hours. After 3 hours, I take out the jars. Once the jars have cooled, store in a dark, cool place until ready to use. Preferably a basement. They last longer than a year. If you hear the sound of air coming in when you open the lid, it's a sign that everything is done right. The beans taste fantastic. Your opinion is important to me, Red Heart. Write me in the comments if you like the recipe. I have been storing flour in a jar for 20 years. The war in my country taught me to preserve food while it is available. I have prepared flour in jars. I will show you a recipe that can save your life. The jars are clean and washed. I will fill them with flour. Write me in the comments from which country are you watching me? It's nice to know that we are watching each other all over the world. Red Heart. Shake to settle the flour. Fill all the jars in the same way. Fill the jars to the top. I will arrange the jars on the baking tray. I put the jars in a cold oven. When I put the jars in, I turn on the oven at 100 degrees Celsius. When the oven reaches 100 degrees Celsius, I start timing. I keep the jars in the oven at 100 degrees Celsius for 90 minutes. Dear friends, do you have supplies for hard times? After 90 minutes, I take one jar out of the oven. I close the oven. I prepare one jar at a time. I don't take everything out so they don't get cold unsealed. Wipe the top of the jar. Use protective gloves. It's hot. I close the lid. We do everything while the flour and the jar are hot. When the jar cools, the center part of the lid must sink down. To be a vacuum in the jar. Only such a jar is correct. Repeat the process. One jar at a time. Leave the jars to cool gradually. After that, store them in a dark place. If you like the recipe, leave me a like and a heart in the comment. Thank you, dear friends.